and gentlemen, you are watching yet another episode of Lima Shenanigans of 1977. It's Thursday night, and you know what that means. It's time for your TNA Event Center Wrestling Report. And now here's the man to give you that report, Mr. Eric M. Lima.
Hey everybody, well, thank you very much, Mr. Announcer, sir. Well, hello there, everyone. Welcome to yet another episode of Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. Episode number 1567 of the show. How's it going? It's Friday afternoon, July 26th, 2024, 2:56 p.m. What's going on, everybody? Didn't get a chance to do this. I usually talk about last night, what happened last night on TNA after Rant and Rave was over. But due to the interview that we had last night with Donovan Dijak, former WWE superstar, it went longer. I think it went up to like 11:30 or something like that. Went on to a long time, and so I decided I wanted to forego it. And plus, I think my brain works better in the afternoon during the next day to talk about it. So let's get right into it. This is the fallout from Slammiversary, guys. As you know, Slammiversary was one of the biggest events of the year. And ladies and gentlemen, we had new champions all around, as you now know, and as you now know, that's where the new TNA World Heavyweight Champion Nick Nemeth decided to kick off, and this took place in Montreal, where Slammiversary took place. He thanked all the fans. He was thanking everybody. And Mustafa Ali, who just recently lost his X Division Championship to Speedball Mike Bailey in what I think the screw job backfired on Mustafa Ali, in my personal opinion. I like the fact that Earl Hebner said, I ain't doing it this time. I ain't doing it this time. We're going the right way about it. And Earl Hebner made that decision that helped create a new X Division champion in Mr. Mike Bailey. And Campaign Singh and Mustafa Ali came out to interrupt Nemeth. Both men argue, and Ali, gets frustrated, gets out of the way. Very, very angry. Very angry man. Very angry man. G. Miller interviewed Matt Hardy, ABC, as they take on the System in a six-man, and JDC in a six-man tag match in the main event. Frankie Kazarian confronts Nick Nemeth and wants a shot at the title. His brother Ryan stood up for Kaz. And then Santino Marella interrupts and says, you know what? I'm going to make the matches next week. First, TNA World Heavyweight title, his first defense against Mustafa Ali. Meanwhile, his brother Ryan Nemeth will take on Kaz, Frankie Kazarian, one-on-one. Heck of a matchup, heck of a deal. The System and JDC arrive at the arena not in a very good mood. Steve Macklin addresses the Montreal crowd. And then Cody Deaner, who is from Canada, interrupted Macklin, and Cody Deaner went one-on-one with Steve Macklin. And and they had their matchup one-on-one, and Steve Macklin has won the matchup. DMTV, Death Machine TV, with Sami Callihan, and the topic he's roasting, First Class, is former TNA Digital Champion and former Canadian International Heavyweight Champion AJ Francis, Rich Swann, and it looks like their newest ally, Josh Bishop. And he was roasting all three of them. And then it led to a matchup between the two, Sami Callihan and AJ Francis. But Rich Swann and Josh Bishop interfered in that matchup to help AJ Francis get back on top. And you know what also is happening next week? The wedding. Speaking of which, PCO and Steph DeLander getting married. Oh boy. But you know how weddings in wrestling go? They don't mix together. Remember when they had Butcher Vachon and Ophelia getting married? You know what happened in the end? A humongous food fight at the at the reception. And before Vince McMahon, Lord Alfred Hayes, everybody was getting involved in that fight, including the little people, including the midget wrestlers that they had. Remember that? Back in the 80s. I think it's on YouTube. I was like, what in the heck? And I can't believe Vince McMahon. They're pouring 7-Up bottles all over the place like they won the dang World Series, and it seems like David Schultz, Dr. David Schultz started it. like making Ophelia eat cake, which is really, really stupid. And then, and there was another wedding back in the 80s that happened. Uncle Elmer, I think it was Miss Linda or something like that, ended up getting married, and Roddy Piper kind of ruined that idea. And Roddy Piper was a crab back then too. And then, obviously, the famous one, Macho Man Randy Savage, Elizabeth, back in what? Back in what? 1991. You know, when Miss Elizabeth opened up one of the packages, Cobra came out, and then the Undertaker waffled Savage in the head with his urn. And I was like, ugh. And we all know Batista and Stephanie McMahon in 99. That wedding got ruined by Triple H. But then Triple H ruined his other own wedding, too. The wedding renewal revow, because Linda McMahon says that Stephanie's been playing him this whole time. And basically turned against Stephanie McMahon. Let me see. And then you got Crystal Marshall and Teddy Long were about to get married, and then Teddy Long suffered a heart attack. How many? There was so many weddings. What is it? AJ Lee and Daniel Bryan, and AJ Lee said accepted the position of general manager of Monday Night Raw. Remember that? All these weddings, and then you got Kane and Lita, and that didn't work out. And then Kane and Edge, not Edge, Edge and Lita. All of a sudden, Kane ended up tombstoning a priest. Wedding and wrestling, I got a hunch, and I hate to say it, and I really, because PCO follows me on X. I have a hunch that this wedding is going to get ruined by somebody. Could be AJ Francis and Rich Swann, or it could be Mance. I know Steph DeLander is dating Mance Warner in real life. Could Mance Warner be on his way to TNA? Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? Anything is possible at this rate. Anything can happen in wrestling. Or will somebody from NXT show up and say, hey, I'll marry Steph DeLander. Duke Hudson, hey, there you go. I was like, Duke, what's wrong with you, boy? Then Duke Hudson. I don't know. With the crossovers of NXT and TNA, I wouldn't be surprised. Who knows for sure? Imagine PCO. If PCO steps in the NXT ring, it'll be the first time back in the WWE since, I believe, 1995. Almost 30 years. The last time, no, I would say 98. So 98. So I just realized because him and Jacques came back as the Quebecers in 98. So, that being said, it will be 26 years, over 2 decades, over 25 years ago, that would be PCO's first time back in the WWE ring. If that's the case. I don't know what's going to happen. With the crossovers of NXT and TNA, anything is possible at this rate. Because who knows who's going to attend the wedding. It's going to turn to a whole brouhaha, in my opinion. Anyways, Rosemary addresses, failing in the women's division, and she needs to get back on track. And so, connecting all the dots, Havoc, the Sinister Minister, possibly Sue Young. I don't know. So Rosemary's got to get everything figured out. She'll be back in the ring possibly next week. Meanwhile, there was a mixed tag match. Eric Young and Jordan Grace teaming up against Hammerstone and Ash by Elegance, and the Crystal Concierge, George Desmond, kind of looking over his shoulder to make sure that Rosemary don't show up and attack him again, actually with a knife. But Hammerstone and Ash by Elegance won that matchup. And then the system, mostly Alicia Edwards, because she's the only one in that group with the title now, was upset and addressing losing the titles, and the boys just said nothing. They're just like, even Eddie Edwards, her own husband, said nothing. He's like, so, anyways. Then Josh Alexander was about to address the Montreal crowd about his actions when he hit Joe Hendry with the low blow. And he was looking at everybody was booing him. He said, I'm going to go back to my real City, in Toronto, and everybody's booing him in Montreal. And he's like, well, I'm walking out. You know? And so he decided to leave the ring. And then Gia Miller interviewed Mike Bailey, congratulating him becoming the X Division champion. And the Rascals congratulated him. And they said, how about this? So we want to challenge you for the title. I was like, how about this? 6-man tag, you and Trent find a partner. You know, so Trent 7, Trent 8, 7, 8, 9. And they're all joking around, but they shook his hand. They respect Mike Bailey. Who knows? And then speaking of 6-man tags, the main event, 6-man tag, Matt Hardy and ABC took on JDC. That's Johnny Dango Curtis, so though you don't know, Fandango, Johnny Curtis. And the system that was Brian Myers and Eddie Edwards. Moose came down the ringside during the matchup. Then Joe Hendry decided to come down to even things up. And then Moose got involved in the matchup, went to go spear Matt Hardy, but instead he hit Brian Myers. Matt Hardy ducked out of the way. Joe Hendry hit him with the standing ovation, but then Matt Hardy and ABC capitalized on it, and they end up winning the matchup. Boy, the system's having a really rough time since losing the belts already. And only Alicia Edwards is the only person in that system, in that group, with a championship. Unbelievable. Now, here's some big news, very big news. Now, the WWE is currently touring Japan. I don't know if we're going to air SmackDown emanating from Tokyo tonight or something like that. But Bayley will defend her title at a live show in Tokyo against Meiko Satomura. And now there's reports going around that Meiko Satomura could be retiring. And if that's the case, if Bayley loses the title, this could change things because Nia Jax will have a bit of a problem with this matchup. And I'm sure Nia Jax will not be happy to see Bayley give Meiko Satomura a women's title shot. So this is going to be interesting to say the least. I don't know that match is going to be televised tonight. I don't know what's up on SmackDown. We'll find out what's going on SmackDown tonight. They have it taped, and I know they're touring Japan right now. We saw Asuka making her first appearance since she got injured, and she showed her off her knees, her legs, in a knee brace. She'll be okay. She'll make a recovery, and she's looking good. Io and Kyrie were very happy to be back in Japan for the WWE. And it wouldn't be only a matter of time now that Julia, I was going to address this on Rant and Rave last night. And I might as well address it here as one of my topics. When I talked about Raw and NXT moving to the Sci-Fi Network for the next couple of weeks because of the Olympics. Did you know that Io Shirai, Io's sister, came out of retirement to wrestle? And now she is issued a challenge to Julia, who accepted, but Io wants it in a neutral zone. She does not want to be doing it in Marigold, and she does not want to do a WWE NXT where her sister is. Don't want to cause conflict on that. I say this, have the WWE sign Io Shirai, you can have your match right there and then. That's what I would do. If I were Triple H, I said, you know what? Talk to Io. I'd like to have your sister here. We signed Julia. Can we get... Yeah, okay. Why not? Make it happen, Hunter. Make it happen. That's what I say. So, that is all. Episode 1567 of Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. Next up, it'll be the game of strategy, luck, knowledge, and daring bullseye. And then we got tonight's SmackDown. And we got AEW Rampage. By the way, tomorrow, after AEW Collision, it's Battle of the Belts. In a title eliminator matchup, Timeless Toni Storm making her return to the ring since that off-road beatdown by Mariah May will take on Tyra Valkyrie. That'll be a heck of a matchup. In a title eliminator matchup. And I found out that Paul White, the former Big Show, has been named to the Ring of Honor Board of Directors. So he'll be calling the shots for a while. I wouldn't want to object to Mr. Paul White. Anyways, that's some big news here in wrestling. TNA Event Center for last night, the 25th of July, 2024. Slammiversary Fallout. All right? So, Until that next episode comes rolling around, Mr. Announcer, take us home.
That is all for today's episode. This is your announcer speaking for Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. A Big Beefy E, doing for Bob Saget Productions, and in association with a Raven Bofa Telepictures and Distribution. Thank you for watching today's episode. Tune in next time for another episode of Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. Goodbye for now.